This leopard, the older brother of the female mentioned above, was lucky. He managed to gain himself a hunting territory near a deer farm. Several hundred spotted deer are held in captivity so that annually the male's freshly grown antlers can be clipped. Antler velvet is used widely in Chinese medicine and truly has miraculous qualities in boosting a man's libido. There was a time, during socialism, when the government held a strict monopoly on trade with foreigners. It was an era when antler velvet was worth twice that of gold. Deer farms flourished, the number of deer increased, and soon their number exceeded the grazing capacity of those enclosed compounds. But today, the price for antler velvet doesn't even cover the cost of raising the deer, which is not to say that Chinese men have lost any concern about their manhood. What happened is that with the collapse of socialism, the monopoly also collapsed. And with the disappearance of a monopoly, the artificial pricing policy vanished. And with that, the Chinese immediately dropped the price paid for the Russian antler velvet. And today, the deer farms are on a road to disaster, operations that are but a pitiful reflection of their past. But economic paradoxes are of no interest to the leopard. What has his attention is a working supermarket that is open winter and summer, and day and night, without any weekends or holidays, a place where there is an inexhaustible supply of warm, healthy meat. Drop by, take a look, and have a bite. That's why leopards love a deer farm, and that's why they are aggressive in establishing home ranges nearby. That's why deer farmers hate leopards, and that's why they wage a fierce war with what they consider a predator. For the leopard is throwing a challenge to the human concept of private property. As deer farms collapse, locals are shifting to raising goats and sheep, and the leopard has again entered into a conflict with humans. How can one resist preying on such a lethargic and carefree beast? Judge for yourself. Can one really resist such a temptation? This male is full and forever doomed, for a Damocles sword of human revenge forever hangs over him for stealing animals. If only these were the extent of the leopard's misfortune. Now there is something new, an unnoticed misfortune, an imperceptible misfortune, the misfortune of inbreeding, something that occurs when small population groups occupy limited areas. The seriousness of the threat can only be determined by giving a medical examination to some portion of the leopards. And here's where an international research team heads out into the taiga. They are not your just regular out for a stroll forest types. These are doctors, but not just any doctors. For this is indeed a rare bunch. You try to land a needle in the vein of a leopard using a headlamp in the middle of the night. An ordinary doctor doesn't haul loads of critical medical gear up a mountain. He'll wait for the patient to show up in an office for a checkup. An ordinary doctor doesn't have the skills to track a patient up a gully or to chase him down a trail. An ordinary doctor isn't going to trap a live 60-kilogram animal, one built of fine-tuned muscles, one with sharp teeth and razor claws. No ordinary doctor is likely to know how to trap this animal in a way that he doesn't risk his own safety or endanger the predator. And no ordinary doctor rushes to get things done, or hurries to undertake 10 complex activities, all the while keeping an eye on the animal's condition, since the action of the immobilizing drug lasts only a certain amount of time. The first leopard inspected confirms the worst of the concerns. There are murmurs found in the heart, and the exam shows that this male hardly has what it takes to ensure a future generation. True, he isn't that young, and is probably more than 10 years old. The ailments discovered could simply be signs of old age, and not the troubling signs related to inbreeding. At first glance, the second patient lends the doctors some optimism. This is a rare, strong, healthy, well-fed cat, one at the height of its prowesses. And this guy's body parts, the ones needed to keep things going, are in good shape. These first medical exams result in more questions than answers for our doctors. So that means more captures. Field science moves slowly, and the number of those who are moving it forward can be counted on a single hand. And tomorrow could hand the leopards nothing but trouble. The tigress killed by a commercial bus on the road from Khabarovsk to Vladivostok was not just some chance victim. Her death marked the start of a new era in the relationship between wild nature and the internal combustion engine. The urban businessman, exhausted from the routine of urban life, has taken the term off-road entirely too literally. Japanese vehicles are no longer a luxury and are the way to get to places where few people would ever go on foot. And the capacity to get out into the wild is magnified by the miracles worked at tune-up and service centers for these Japanese vehicles. Places that recently had no foot traffic are today places where the roar of jeeps can be heard. These extremely remote and out-of-the-way landscapes, where for generations females gave birth and raised kittens, are today the places where the off-road extremists have their way, and where ripped-up landscapes are left behind. But this is a fine weather event compared to the near future. What Russian doesn't like a fast ride? And what resident of Primorsky Krai hasn't been jarred by the potholes of the Hasansky Highway? The unquenchable thirst for speed and the dream of a personal role in geopolitics has given birth to a mega-project, a plan to build a superhighway where cars can race in excess of 100 kilometers an hour. When this highway opens, Chinese goods, moving from customs houses on the border, will travel to exclusive French boutiques in Vladivostok in a flash. The cost to people will be enormous. The cost of this last handful of 40 leopards may be unbearable. The right-of-way will create a half-kilometer of open, impassable space, a no-man's land that leopards, and roe deer and spotted deer also, have used to get to the sea. With a highway, the path to the sea will be cut off and lost forever. This is but a tip of an iceberg of mega projects planned to stimulate regional economic development.